Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Ashish Santhalia, co-founder of Convin.ai, a conversation intelligence platform for sales teams. Ashish is a graduate of IIT Delhi and has worked for companies such as Notice App, LimeTray, and Byju's before starting his own venture. Hi Ashish, welcome to ELI.
Hi. Hi, Priya. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, sir?
All good.
So I'd request you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Hey, everyone. This is Ashish. I'm currently working as a founder at Convin. And before that, I was product manager at multiple companies. So I have been a product manager all my life, since college, I would say. And we identified a couple of problems, started a venture in college as well. And I started working as a product manager after shutting down the first venture. And fortunately identified another problem which I would like to work on, and then started Convin.ai. Yes, building Convin.ai right now. That's a brief background about it.
Tell us about Convin.ai. What is it about? What problems does it solve? What scale is it operating at, etc., etc.
Right. So see, Convin is a conversation intelligence platform. What does that mean is that we work with conversations, any kind of conversations that you do, we are able to record, transcribe, and analyze that conversation. If you think about this in a corporate setup where there is a company talking to its customer, you would see that a company talks to its customer through
Hmm.
multiple channels and multiple functions. So there will be a marketing team, product team, there will be a sales team, support team, different kind of teams talking to customers across different channels, right? And all of these are conversations, correct?
Hmm.
It might be emails, chats, phone calls, video conferencing, right? So what we do is we are able to record these conversations, basically get all of these conversations at one place, and then able to analyze all of them, and then tell people where they are doing good, what they are doing wrong, where they can improve, right? We have narrowed down the entire use case for sales right now, so that we
Hmm.
are going to get into the companies through sales as a function, and then eventually spread horizontal. That's the whole.
Okay. How does it work in the back end? How do you identify what they're doing right or wrong? How does it work from a technology and operation standpoint?
So we use NLP. What we use is we use speech to text to convert everything that we record into text, and then we use NLP on top of it. Obviously, there are certain parameters that we look for, certain things that we try to find from the conversations. There's a lot of machine learning and unsupervised learning going into this whole thing.
Hmm.
So yes, we actually analyze a lot of data around it to figure out what exactly is happening in correct way, what is not happening in correct way. Obviously, there's mapping around those data points, and we are using that to be able to.
Okay. Have you achieved product market fit yet?
No, I would not say we have achieved product market fit. It's a very big space and crowded one, right? There are a lot of players
Hmm.
who are trying to do something like this. A product market fit, the definition of product market fit is not something which is very, very clear right now. Probably we'll go along and we'll figure out what a product market fit for us looks like. But the idea is for us right now to narrow down the gap between the real problems that the market has and the solution that we are building. Right? So we continuously work on narrowing down that gap.
What is the current scale of operation? How many people are using the platform? What kind of value they are getting?
So yes, we have more than 10 customers, and it's very early for us. We started working on this a couple of months back, full time, right? And so it's early for us, and we are actually now going forward with more and more clients. The focus is India and US at this point
Mhm.
in time.
Can you tell us about how you built this product phase by phase? Like, how did you find the people to build this thing up? And then what are the series of steps, like some for a product we do user testing and
Sure,
UI building, etc. So can you take us through that process?
sure, sure. See, this whole thing started from a very personal experience, right? And not just one personal experience, I would say multiple personal experiences,
Mhm.
where I was working as a product manager at uh, one of my previous companies, LimeTrek. I had to go on client meetings to discuss their problems, more about the product that we were building at that point in time, what they like, what they would not like, why would they buy the product or why would they not buy the product, right? All of those things. Uh, this gave me a very interesting insight that the sales conversations that really people do with the customers are very, very important, but are never recorded. You would not find a document around it at any point in time. No documentation whatsoever. And less than 25% of it was retained after a week, right? Uh, so I started recording those conversations on my own. That was the first, understanding of the problem and the solution. I started when I switched from line trade to Byju's, I started looking at similar kind of problem statement happening everywhere, right? That was the first, that was more or less 1 or 2 year of realization around, a long chain of thoughts and realization that, okay, this is something it seems like a proper problem statement to solve for, right? But the tech behind that was very, very hard. Fortunately, I was able to find three of my batchmates, Durgesh, Atul, and Bharat, very easily. I was able to talk to them. I was able to make sure that they understand the same scale of the problem, and we come on a common ground to say that, hey, this is something we want to solve for. It was easy for me finding the initial team. Honestly, it's not very, very easy to find people like Durgesh, Atul, and Bharat, and get them on the same page to solve for a problem. But it was a bit easier for me, I would say. I have worked with Durgesh on my first startup, which is Notice App, earlier as well. So he had been my co-founder earlier as well, and we were on same page for a long time. That we wanted to do something different and we wanted to solve some kind of problems that were real. And this is something that came up. We thought that yes, this is good to go. We should be able to try it. So yes, that's how this whole thing started. Initially, we built the whole product ourselves. We did not. I mean, we did not actually need the help, any help outside. We built all the tech, all the product, everything ourselves initially.
Okay. Again, to build a product, there has to be a connect with the market. Did you do any sort of market research, interviews that we do with the user base to understand their requirements, etc.? So, can you take us through those steps as well?
Sure. And in fact, this was pretty hard for me, right? I was a product manager working with mostly in India, right, and Indian people, right. But the product that we were trying to build at that point in time, when I started thinking about this, market major market for this product was in US. Now Indian companies have also started using products like this, but majorly at that point in time, the product was for US as a market. So what I used to do is I used to send requests to random VP of sales. I did not know those people. I used to send requests to VP of sales, any VP of sales on LinkedIn in US, and I hope that they accepted it. And then when they accepted it, I would message them about this whole thing that I'm thinking, and I would try to talk to them. So you know I would have talked to around 200, 300 very senior people in sales in US,
Hmm.
then at least 300 people who are the users of the product, right? So I understand both sides of it, the buyer side of it and the user side of it, before we started to build out anything. And that gave me fairly good idea of the problem, the market, what people are using as an alternative, what they're, where are they lagging behind, what kind of solution they are exactly looking for, right? What are the players are in the market. So it gave me a lot of insight around that. Yes, so I would have talked around 500 to 600 people into it before we started building this up.
Okay. Uh, any pivots did you do in between while building this product or building this model?
I would not say pivot. Uh, See, what happens is it's very early to say we have done any kind of pivot, honestly. Uh, what pivot means actually is you changing a lot of not only one feature in the product here and there, but it also means changing the positioning, right? Changing what everyone in the organization know what they're working for.
Mm.
So we have not done this. We have not done that pivot any till now yet. Uh, Again, as I said earlier, what we're trying to do is we know that there is a problem in the market
Mm.
and we are building a solution. We also know that that solution might not be the exact fit that what market needs. We are trying to narrow down that gap, regularly. This is what we are approaching. If you're narrowing down that gap, pretty much sure if pivot is a way through which that gap can be narrowed at some point in time, we'll do the pivot as well. At this point in time, it feels that that gap can be narrowed down by other things. It might be distribution strategy, it might be a better product experience or something like that, right? So yes, we're trying to figure out that as a problem first, and then solution pivot might be a solution will come in later.
Any growth hacks that you have tried or now experimenting with your venture?
B2B rarely has growth hacks, honestly, and the kind of market we are capturing, we are trying to go into it's mid market to enterprise.
Mm.
Growth hacks generally don't work well. Uh, I read somewhere recently that B2B sales is like politics. So you go into talking to people, you convince them, but then you also become their friends, right? You
Mm.
help them solve their problem, and then they help you, like in return, right? uh, Fairly something that sticks with me, will stick with me for a long time, right?
Mm.
I would not say something which I have done and it's like a growth hack, but yes, asking for help has been a growth hack kind of thing. So honestly, if the earlier thing that what I used to feel earlier was that, hey, how would I ask this guy if they can help me or not? Why would they even listen? Someone who's a VP of sales in US sitting somewhere else, right, doing his job and hitting the quota for the next quarter, right? Planning to hit the quota for the next quarter, right? They would not actually. I thought they would not actually, hear me out or even give me 5 or 10 minutes. But I was surprised how people are so warm, right? You go and ask for people. That's the simplest hack that I can suggest. Go and ask for help, and 5% of people will help you, at least. And if you go with the bigger number, 5% of people will be very big as a number, and you will get all the help that you need. Right? So
That
that's
is
the only growth hack that comes to mind.
so true. Um, can you tell us what is the North Star metric you have for your company?
Sure. So the Northstar metric that we're looking at today, Priya, is about the number of salespeople that we are serving. So we have a goal to serve 1 million salespeople that we are operating with. Very clear. Everyone knows this. Everyone works toward this. We work toward this. Are we serving 1 million people, or how are we going to serve 1 million people or not? Everything is aligned according to this.
What are the different challenges that you and your co-founders have faced so far while building and growing this venture?
I would say a lot, and we are also still facing challenges. Honestly, uh, challenges comes in various forms, right? It's not just about building the product. It's actually in different areas. So if you think about what different activities we do, right, when we build a business, we need to understand what the market needs. That's one. Second, we need to probably figure out a solution for that need, right? Third part is, if you figure out a solution, it will not sell itself, right? You have to go and sell it. And the fourth one is you have to establish some sort of brand, because not only you will figure out a solution, your competitors will also figure out a solution, and they will also sell it, right? So you have to sell against them and have a proper brand or something like that, right?
Hmm.
So I would say we have faced fair share of problems along all these four categories, uh, while building the product, while understanding the market needs. We are facing problems, and we are facing it on a regular daily basis for selling. How do we reach out to the target customers? How do we exactly sell them, right? And then obviously creating a brand. So we don't have a lot of money, and the competitors in the space have tons of money. I mean, we probably have not even spent more than, probably I would say, 20 lakh rupees in total.
Mm.
to build something like this, while companies in our segment have $600 million in their funding, right?
Interest.
So it's a very crowded market that way. Multiple challenges across when we have started building this till now, and probably one of the biggest challenge will be to establish ourselves as an alternative to something already existing in the market.
What is the vision you have as a company or as a startup? For example, after 10 years, 20 years time, where do you see the company going in the long term?
I would not say that I have that longer of a view right now. I do. I will be very honest to say that 10 years or 20 years down the line is very, very far. You don't know what will happen at that during that period of time and up till that period of time. What we know is obviously what we are going to do in next 2 years. Where are we going to supposed to be in next 2 years? Next 3 years is what I have a view of. Do I need to have that of 10 years to 20 years? It seems unnecessary as of now. A lot might change. Things might get very, very different. But do we need to have a 2 to 3 year worldview at this point in time? Yes, and that we have. Do we have a short-term view on this, like 6 months? Yes, that we have. So general view after 2 to 3 years is that we want to own a certain share of the market that we are operating. And as I said, right, we want to serve 1 million salespeople. That's what we are whole goal is, right? And obviously, we would want to achieve some target of that in next 2 to 3 years. Actually, a major one. So the way we are looking at the growth is, and are we going to capture more salespeople who we are serving the market at all the points of time? And that's what we will optimize.
Tell us about some of the failures that you have gone through as an entrepreneur.
Plenty, actually. I mean, I can't even remember how many failures have. But yeah, if I have to recall, I started building things when we were in second year of the college. Okay. And the first idea was something to build like Grofers in college when Grofers did not exist,
Mm.
and Big Basket did not exist honestly. So we tried building something like that. We failed in college. This was during the second year, I guess 2013 or something. And then we started building, multiple kind of products. Right, I was fascinated with Paytm's mobile app on my phone, and it was the first smartphone I got. In 2002, and I was fascinated by the mobile app that we were used to, we were able to use, and we were able to recharge things for. Right. So I started building out multiple things. The first failure would be that Grofers kind of thing that we started to build. The second failure would be around Notice app, obviously, that we invested a lot of time in, but eventually we found that it is not working out at that point in time. And this is probably the third thing that I'm trying to do at this point in time.
Okay. Going through so
So this would be
many.
the third serious thing. I am pretty much sure there are a couple of other failures which I don't remember that.
Okay. So going through so many failures as an entrepreneur, you must be getting tired, restless, or you may also lose focus. So can you tell us how do you manage such situations? How do you manage to stay consistent throughout the journey of entrepreneurship?
Okay. Uh, I'm not sure if I'll be able to give a proper answer to this, but what I think is most of it is mindset. Uh, you know, uh, so what we know is, what we already know is building a business is very, very tough. And initially, when we started doing this, it was a lot more about fascination. We were fascinated about building something.
Mhm.
And we actually were fascinated about just building something, not building a business when I initially started with it. But slowly, as I started looking at other people, in the world, right, other people who are doing something and everything, figured out that it's not just about building something, it's about building a business. And building a business is a very hard thing to do. If you are the smallest of the business, but you own it, you run it, you have all my respect. Right? It's a very, very hard thing to run a business, even a small one.
Mhm.
Uh, and once I understood this, everything else was then falling in place. Then I felt very clear about all of this in my head. I feel very clear about this all of this thing. I at least feel very settled down in my mind when I think about all of this. What I understand is building this is going to be very, very hard. It's going to be a long journey, right? Why I'm going to do it or why I'm trying to do it is very clear to me personally. And because that goal is so clear, it's not associated with any kind of returns that I'm expecting, but it's rather something else more abstract in nature. And I'm pretty much settled in my mind that, hey, I don't really need to be worried about anything, right? I know that I always will have a safety net falling back somehow, right? I will always find something to do. Uh, Somehow I'm very settled to go on to this long journey and figure out something at the end of it. So I'm not sure what will happen with this one or whatever the next thing I will do. But what I'm settled through is that I'll eventually find something to do and I will do something good at it. Right. So yes, probably that does this answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to my next question, tell us, how do you take decisions, especially the tough decision? What is the decision making process that you follow? Because I understand entrepreneurs have to make a decision every day, every hour, in fact, and these decisions are very crucial, affect a lot many stakeholders, not only to the entrepreneurs themselves. Having said that, can you tell us, how do you make decisions for your venture?
Sure. There's no set formula actually, right? Or there's no specific plan or framework that I use to make decisions. What I try to look for majorly in any kind of situation that comes in is what is the goal that we are going to have? Or what is the goal that we should have? Short-term goal, long-term goal. Possible, not possible comes very late. It's all a state of mind. Possibility and non-possibility is a state of mind. So we don't go into that. We rather than try to look, we try to look at things from an ideal perspective. What ideally should happen? What ideally should be what ideally we should aim for, right? All of that. So basically, the goal thing comes pretty much very, very first. Like this is like the top layer of before deciding anything. And once that goal is very clear, until we don't have that clear goal, we keep trying to find it. We don't take a decision until we have a goal available with us, right? And we keep trying to find that goal. Once that goal is pretty much clear, all you have to do is then take a logical decision around it on how do you hit that goal with the decision that you are taking. This might sound very easy, but has come in through multiple years of constant self-development over the time. So we are able to assign goals now pretty very quickly. So if we have some situation at hand, we will be able to assign a goal to that situation very quickly. And once we assign that goal, it becomes only logical for us to take a certain kind of decision. That's one of the most important things I would say while making a decision. Second thing that I use sometimes, more like a framework that I'm pretty much sure everyone will be already aware about, are reversible and non-reversible decisions. So I look at when I make a decision, I look at it from this angle: are they reversible or non-reversible? If they're reversible, and if time is something that I want to optimize for, I'll not waste a lot of time and take a decision instead. If it is non-reversible, we will definitely spend more time onto it and try to figure out how ideally we will be able to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how we do.
Okay, this is the final question I have. Tell us about the lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which can be taken away by us and can be applied to our ventures.
Very hard, honestly. What happens is you learn a lot of things, and then it actually becomes a part of your subconscious mind, right? Uh, and then after some time, you don't consider it as learning. Honestly, that's how what happens with you. But if I have to actually say a few things which are important, one is always ask for help. Don't shy away from it. I ask for help from anyone and everyone that I mean, I don't even remember how many people I've just gone through who don't know me, who don't know I exist, but I even go to them and I try to ask them for help. That's something because I know I don't know everything and I'm learning. I'll keep on learning all the time. Asking for help is the best thing I can do at all points in time. And second is obviously, one of the learning that has come in, again, it's a hard-earned learning, is being able to impart clarity to everyone on that. As someone who's working and let's say working as a co-founder at Convin, right? What I really think is very important for me to do is to be able to impart clarity to everyone else on it and why we are doing something, what we are trying to achieve. The better I'm able to impart this clarity, the better I'm able to transfer this clarity, the better everyone else becomes. And that's my goal to, the whole goal actually. Probably this is one of the best part of my job is that I have to actually impart all the clarity and all the important things to everyone else so that they can become better at their work. And eventually we can. I'll not say a lot of things. I think people eventually learn themselves. But these are the two most important things that I have learned.
Okay. It was a pleasure to host you here at ELI, and thanks for your time, Ashish, and our best wishes for Convin.ai.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Priya.